say a lot of lessons have not been drawn from our experience at that time. No. We are still repeating the same mistakes of the past. Politicians go into elections in many cases without any program.
Indeed, in the last 30 years, lessons have been learned, and the return of democracy in 1999, as well as the actualization of the seventh transfer of power from one civilian rule to another, attest to the subordination of the military and how unfashionable military rule has become, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa as a continent. Joke Edison, TVC News, Abuja.
Now, just a quick reminder that at the top of the hour, we will be bringing you the live broadcast of the President's Democracy Day speech. And right now, we still have our guest, Razak Olukova, in the studio. Now, this report is talking about the lessons learned. It's a mixed bag of reactions to if we have been able to consolidate on the experience we had 30 years ago and to learn our lessons to move us forward. That's the question now. Do you think we have?
Of course. It's amazing for people to say such a thing that we have not learned our lesson. Since 1999, people have been very careful the way they have handled elections. And what has been the guide to 12? America got their independence in 1776 and they didn't go to war until 85 years later. Our war was 6 years later. So our differences broke out and led to, but our war took them 85 years. For them to understand that there are issues that we have to sit down and discuss about. I was just 6 years. And after that time, close to civil war was the 12. So, and since that time till today, we kept reminding ourselves that we should not go back to this deal. And that's been the guide. And that's how nation, the world is built. When we have experience of Shaitan as Muslims and as Christians, what God did to him. We'll go to George Quicklands, we will go to Mondo. I don't want to end up like Shaitan. And that's what you tell us we come to Nigeria so that all the people want to come back to party net. The only thing is that we are still not yet satisfied that certain punitive action has not been given to certain people. For instance, Babangida, what cut off with Babangida is old age. It's not the message of what he has done. People will be old, we have issues, but we need to bring him to move properly. So the greatest,
what should that be?
The greatest for what he has done,
yes,
for cancelling, for toying with demanding the wish she needs to be tried. Or appropriate punishment should be given to him. And all the people who persecuted us at that moment. But the greatest thing that we have come out of democracy is now that somebody who took part in the struggle is now the president. I have conviction, beyond reasonable doubt, that the things he will do will be guided. And the things we do will not be outside the interest of Nigeria. In less than a month, he has developed power on electricity. And maybe because we are used to bad news, it's not celebrated enough to my own satisfaction. That in less than a month, while his 8 years was about 2 weeks to go or 2 months to go before he said, let me just do this. That was when he got that conviction. But for about 3 days in office, and they assigned it to other things, just to generate power. That is an inkling that, of course, June 12 has brought us.
But there are those who say government is a continuum and he's building on what the former president set in motion.
No, I'm not even trying to say that God has not done well. What I'm saying is that there are things that people, governments or city government, with decision of what the previous government has done now. That administration has done that already, even in Lagos and Lagos. Remember, Shola left, and what they came and this is something completely different from what the people of Lagos want. But that's people came and started doing things, and the promise of doing more things.
So, election. It was a big joke. They even went to the extent of saying, the government was owing Abiola a lot of money.
Yeah, but you see, what happens is that we spend our money on. Although Moshood Abiola never reclaimed his mandate, these Nigerians are today happy that June 12 has got its desired place in history as Democracy Day, and the acclaimed winner has been honored with the highest national award in the land. They speak on lessons learned.
What Abiola has done, or what he did in spite of his own romance with imperialism, before he contested the election. I think for us it's a lesson that you need to remain consistent with the people. You need to fight for your rights. And that ultimately the people will win.
The most important part of it now is like 30 years after, someone who was actually fully involved in that movement, one of the chieftain of Nadebu, is now the president of Nigeria, and who played a major role in even all this struggle, is now the president of Nigeria. That's a soothing for even all the lovers of June 12.
If you look at the Nigerian political terrain today, I'm sorry to say a lot of lessons have not been drawn from our experience at that time. No. We are still repeating the same mistakes of the past. Politicians go into elections in many cases without any program.
Indeed, in the last 30 years, lessons have been learned and the return of democracy in 1999, as well as the actualization of the seventh transfer of power from one civilian rule to another, attest to the subordination of the military and how unfashionable military rule has become, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa as a continent. Jockey Edson, TBC News, Abuja.
Now, just a quick reminder that at the top of the hour, we will be bringing you the live broadcast of the President's Democracy Day speech. And right now, we still have our guest, Razak Kulukova, in the studio. Now, this report is talking about the lessons learned. It's a mixed bag of reactions to if we have been able to consolidate on the experience we had 30 years ago and to learn our lessons to move us forward. That's the question now. Do you think we have?
Of course, it's amazing for people to say such a thing that we have not learned our lesson. Since 1999, people have been very careful the way they have handled elections. And what has been the guide to America got their independence in 1776 and they didn't go to war until 85 years later, or 6 years later. So our differences broke out and led to war. It took them 85 years for them to understand that there are issues that we have to sit down and discuss about. Our war is just 6 years. And after that time, close to civil war was the June 12. So, and since that time till today, we kept reminding ourselves that we should not go back to this deal. And that's been the guide. And that's how nation, the world is built. When we have experience of Shaitan as Muslims and as Christians, what God did to him. We'll go to church class, we'll go to Mondo. I don't want to end up like Shaitan. And that's what the job has become to Nigerians, so that all the people want to take part in it. The only thing is that we are still not yet satisfied that certain positive action has not been given to certain people. For instance, Babangida. What caught up with Babangida is old age. It's not in the message of what he has done. People will be old, we will have issues, but we need to bring him to move properly. So the greatest, the greatest for what he has done,
Yes.
for counseling, for toying with demanding the wish he needs to be tried. So, for appropriate punishment should be given to him. And all the people who persecuted us at that moment. But the greatest thing that we have come out of democracy is now that somebody who took part in the struggle is now the president. I have conviction, beyond reasonable doubt, that the things we do will be guided. And the things we do will not be outside the interest of Nigeria. In less than a month, he has developed power on electricity. And maybe because we are used to bad news, it's not celebrated enough to my own satisfaction that in less than a month, while this 8 years was about 2 weeks to go or 2 months to go before he said, let me just do this. That was when he got that conviction. But for about 2 days in office, and he has signed it to know that the state can generate power. That is an inkling that, of course, 2012 has got us.
But there are those who say government is a continuum and he's building on what the former president set in motion.
No, I'm not even trying to say that God has not done well. What I'm saying is that there are things that people, governments or city government, politicians, of what the previous government has done now. There are will be a consolation to all that our struggle for those periods were not in vain.
All right, just in a minute or two, we're listening to the president on his Democracy Day podcast. What do you expect to say?
Well, of course, nobody will not be delighted that is alive today. When
It's reaching a potential cost as becoming challenging day by day. Perhaps your calls are getting lost in the clutter of other calls. How can you solve this? Introduce.
to what he had gone through, his properties were seized and he was harassed, he had to run away for that. And today is the president. So one of the first that will come into his mind is that I have that opportunity to do what Abela has not been able to do for Nigerians.
Right. Well, let's turn our attention rather to the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his democracy address.
Take it from me, the mind-blowing way to do things is the Glow LTE advanced way. When you stream, it's like you're in the drama itself. When you make calls, you reach where others can't. Fluffy! Doing business is like running Wall Street from your street. And when you play,
I don't think the guy.
See about that.
it's like traveling the world without moving an inch.
Is that Tobio?
You can download in the blink of an eye in 4K. And when you go for your trips, it's like running with the strength of 3 nations behind you.
The power of free data networks is one get a glossy or down star 301 hash.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Honey, what time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TV's News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
The TV station of the year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair, and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news. Lagos, a most visited state in Africa, as the 5th largest economy on the continent, covering the state and its government, is no mean feat. It's a busy feat. We go beyond the curtain of taste to traveling far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos State government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
The Greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamabui. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Fellow Nigerians, it is exactly 3 decades today that Nigerians went to the polls to exercise their inalienable right to elect a president of their choice to lead the transition from military dictatorship to a representative government of the people. The apportion by the military fiat
decisive victory of Chief MKO Abiola of the defunct Social Democratic Party in the June 12, 1993 presidential election. Up to that time, the fairest and the freest election in the country's political evolution turned out, ironically, to be the seed that germinated into the prolonged struggle that gave birth to the democracy we currently enjoyed since 1999. In rising to strongly oppose the arbitrary annulment of the will of the majority of Nigerians, as expressed in that historic election, the substantial number of our people who participated in the struggle to annul the election signified their fierce commitment to enthroning democracy as a form of government that best ennobles the liberty, the dignity of individual and integrity, as well as the stability of the polity. The fierce opposition to the annulment of June 12, 1993 presidential election and unrelenting pro-democracy onslaught it unleashed was the equivalent of the battle against colonial rule by our founding fathers that resulted in the gaining of Nigerian independence in 1960. Just like the anti-colonial movement, the pro-democracy June 12 vanguard demonstrated once again the enduring validity of the 19th century historian Arnold Toynbee's eternal postulation that civilization and society experience progress as they are forced to respond to challenges posed by the environment. The unjust annulment of a widely acknowledged free and fair election was a challenge that elicited resistance by resurgent civil society, leading ultimately to the attainment of our second independence, as exemplified by the return of democratic governance in 1999. Fellow compatriots, we celebrate a day that has remained a watershed in our nation's history, not just today, but for every June 12th, for the endless future that our beloved country shall exist and want stronger and stronger. Generation of Nigerians will always remember themselves that the democracy that is steadily growing to become the defining essence of our polity was not gifted to us on a silver platter. We can easily recall the sacrifice and the martyrdom of Chief MKO Abiola, the custodian of the sacred mandate that was so cruelly annulled. He sacrificed his life in unyielding patriotic defense of the ideals of democracy, as symbolized in his choice by his fellow countrymen and women as their duly elected president. There was an easier choice for him. It was to forgo the justice of his cause and opt for the path of ease and capitulation in the face of the tyranny of power. So, his eternal credit and immortal glory, Abiola said no. He demonstrated the time-tested eternal truth that there are certain ideals and principles that are far more valuable than life itself. Every day on this day, down the ages, we will recall the several heroes of democracy, such as Kudirat Abiola, wife of Chief Abiola, who was brutally murdered while in the trenches fighting on the side of the people. We remember Pat Al-Fedrawani, one of the heroes of our independence struggle, and Major General Sheikh Musaya Adra, retired, who were silenced by the military junta while in pursuit of democracy. They gave their yesterday for the liberty that is ours today. The point is that we must never take this democracy for granted. We must forever jealously guard and protect it like a precious jewel. For a people can never truly appreciate the freedom and the right democracy guarantees them until they lose it. We have traversed the dark, thorny part of dictatorship before, and those who experience it can readily testify to the unbridgeable gap between the dignity of freedom and the humiliation and degradation of tyranny. True, yes, rancorous debates, interminable wrangling, ceaseless quarrels, bitter electoral contestations may be perceived by some as the unattractive feature of democracy, but they also testify to its merits and value. This year, we held the seventh in the cycle of elections that have become sacred ritual of our democratic practice in this dispensation since 1999. That the polls were intensely contested is in itself positive evidence that democracy is well and alive in our land. It is only natural that even as those who won and experienced victory in various elections are elated and fulfilled, those who lost are disenchanted and disappointed. But the beauty of democracy is that those who win today can lose tomorrow, and those who lose today will have an opportunity to compete and win in the next rounds of elections. Those who cannot endure and accept the pains of defeat in elections do not deserve the joy of victory when it is their turn to triumph. Above all, those who disagree with the outcome of the elections are taking full advantage of the constitutional provisions to seek redress in court. That is one of the reasons why democracy is the best form of government invented by man. For Chief M.K.O. Abiola, the symbol of this day, in whose memory June 12 became a national holiday, democracy is a Ghana. It is about rule of law and vibrant judiciary that can be trusted to deliver justice and strengthen institutions. It has become imperative to state here that the unnecessary illegal orders issued to truncate or abridge democracy will no longer be tolerated. The recent harmonization of the retirement age of the judicial officers is meant to strengthen the rule of law, which is a critical pillar of democracy. The reform has just started. The democracy that will yield right dividends to the people who are shareholders means more than just freedom of choice. Our right to get people into elective offices. It means social and economic justice for our people. To the winner of June 12 democracy, of offers the best chance to fight and eliminate poverty. 30 years ago, he christened his campaign manifesto Farewell to Poverty because he was convinced that there is nothing defined about poverty. It is a man-made problem that can be eliminated with clearly thought out social and economic policies. It is for this reason that in my inauguration address on May 29, I gave effect to the decision taken by my predecessor in office to remove the fuel subsidy, the albatross, and free up the collective use of much needed resources, which had hitherto been pocketed by a few rich. I admit the decision will impose extra burden on the masses of our people. I feel your pain. This is one decision we must bear to save our country from going under and take our resources away from the stranglehold of a few unpatriotic elements. Painfully, I have asked you, my compatriots, to sacrifice a little more for the survival of our country. For your trust and belief in us, I assure you that your sacrifice shall not be in vain. The government I lead will repay you through massive investment in transportation, infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that will improve the quality of lives. The democracy MK Abiola died for is one that promotes the welfare of the people over personal interests of the ruling class, and one where the governed can find personal fulfillment and happiness. That is the hope MK Abiola ignited throughout our country in 1993. On this year's Democracy Day, I enjoy all of us, to rededicate ourselves to strengthening this form of government of free people that has been our guiding light this past 24 years. In particular, those of us who have been privileged to elect into public office at various levels in both executive and legislative arms of government must recommit ourselves to offering selfless service to the people and delivering concrete democracy dividend in accordance with our electoral promises. On my part and that of my administration, I pledge anew our commitment to diligently fulfilling every component of our electoral pact with the people, the Renew Hope agenda. We shall be faithful to truth, faithful to equity, and faithful to justice. We shall exercise our authority and mandate to govern with fairness, respect for the rule of law, and commitment to always upholding the dignity of all our people. On this note, I wish us a happy Democracy Day celebration and pray that the light of liberty shall never be extinguished in our land. Thank you all, and may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.